A very low over-under with Carolina at Atlanta. We all know that I'm excited about the Atlanta offense. I feel like every opportunity I get to talk about them, I'm going to. So we'll start with Carolina, Tom. We're seeing that it's basically every receiver in Carolina is now injured, it seems. Does this mean you're avoiding Bryce Young? Does this mean you'd potentially be intrigued in someone like Jonathan Mingo?
So it's tricky when you talk about the Panthers because I don't think anyone expects them to be a particularly well-scoring team this year. Miles Sanders would be somebody I'd be far more excited about if he'd been healthy through training camp. Hayden Hurst, I mean, he's $3,000 on DK. I think if you have Hayden Hurst as your tight end one in Dynasty or Redraft, you probably need to be looking to make an upgrade at some point. But this feels like an okay week for him. The only problem with Hayden Hurst is that like he played, 26 preseason snaps with Bryce Young, and he only had one target in all of them. So it's not like we've seen this kind of natural connection between the two of them. DJ Chark, Adam Thielen both didn't practice today. So you start kind of working back through it, and it's like, okay, well, who is there? Jonathan Mingo. I'm not sure I could start him in Dynasty or in Redraft. In DFS, if you're looking for a tournament play at 3,200, I don't hate it. But what is it that we're really projecting? We're projecting them to be able to stay in the game with the Falcons and kind of push them. And you kind of have to start telling yourself that kind of story of what we're hoping for. Is this game going to go over 39.5 over under? It's just tricky. Like, Arthur Smith, we know how much he hates the kind of football which we like for fantasy football. It's like he would love nothing more than just letting Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier have 20 touches each and just grind out the game and really not do a lot. But I think the upside case is that, you could be looking at Drake London having a really solid game. When we saw him playing last year, he was Desmond Ridder's go-to guy so often. He had like a 33% target share in the games that the two of them played together. So I think he's probably the kind of player that will attract some ownership on DraftKings this week. I think if you've got Drake London on your roster, you should be starting him with fairly good confidence because this Carolina defense do have some players, but I'm not sure they're going to be particularly great. Are you looking at that Atlanta side and really just wheels up on all of them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you've not drafted a lot of these guys. You've not got a lot of these guys to sit them on your roster, on your bench. I think Bijan for me is a top 3 back this week. I think he's an absolute star, and I think this is going to be a game where Carolina can't really score. So I think Atlanta are probably going to run the ball a lot. Drake London's a top 20 option for me this week. I think wherever you've got him, you've got to start him. I'm really excited by Cole Pitts. He's a top 4 player, top 4 tight end for me this week. And because of all of that, I think that means that Desmond Ridder's a sneaky little start. If you're in a super flex league and perhaps you faded a quarterback or something like that, I think that there's potentially going to be a higher volume passing attempts. But I also think that Desmond Ridder's going to add a little bit on the ground. Maybe we get 20, 30 yards. And that suddenly makes him that streamable option.
Yeah, I mean, so Desmond Ridder is 4,900 on DraftKings this week, which if you're looking at him and Sam Howell, they're both 4,900. You really have to choose between the two of them, and you have to talk yourself into, okay, are you looking for Sam Howell's rushing ability, or are you looking for, against possibly the worst team in the NFL, or are you looking for Desmond Ridder in a game which might actually be a bit more comfortable for the Falcons against the Panthers? I think Bijan Robinson isn't going to be this cheap very often. We're talking about 8,000 on DraftKings. So his price is likely just going to keep skyrocketing. He's going to continuously see an uptick in things as we go. Ridder, I think he's still being priced down as if, we're talking about like the Marcus Mariota offense where they threw the ball 23 times per game, as opposed to when Ridder came in and they suddenly saw an uptick of 5 more pass attempts per game and 4 more completions per game. We never really saw Ridder turn it on. He scored 22.9 fantasy points combined across 3 games. But this is an offseason that's tailored to him. This isn't going to be Marcus Mariota, whilst Desmond Ridder has to sit back and watch Marcus Mariota. So I am interested in him. I think this is, if you're playing DraftKings, playing daily fantasy football at all this week, it's a week to have a few lineups, spread some exposure out across a few teams and create a Falcons sort of stack with Desmond Ridder, with Drake London, or attack it from the other side with Bijan Robinson. Or if you want to get really contrarian, put Tyler Algier in there and just see what happens when the world burns.